Madam Speaker, when I became a nurse more than 40 years ago, I took a vow to devote myself to the welfare of those committed to my care. But our understanding of the science limited to the extent to which I could fulfill that promise has evolved. During my first years of nursing, if a woman came into our hospital in labor at 32 weeks of pregnancy, our odds of saving her child were slim. However, today babies are being saved as early as 22 weeks into fetal development, according to a study that was just released this past week by the New York Times. What's more, there is a significant evidence that at 20 weeks of development, unborn children have the capacity to feel pain. Sadly, while we celebrate advances in technology that prove life has value and worth before leaving the hospital, we also continue to be one of only 7 nations that allow elective long-term, late-term abortions. One of only 7 nations around this world. It is difficult to imagine a more important measure of society than how it treats the most innocent and defenseless population. And by condoning the destruction of unborn life that could otherwise live outside the womb, the United States tragically fails to meet this most fundamental human rights standard. Basic decency and human compassion demands that something has to change. Polls consistently show that upwards of 60% of Americans support putting an end to the dangerous and inhumane practice of late-term abortions. So to be clear, we have a mandate to act. That is why I strongly support the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act this week, which will provide federal protection for an unborn child at 20 weeks, with exceptions to the saving the life of the mother or in cases of rape and incest. Today's vote coincides with the 2-year anniversary of the conviction of the evil abortionist Kermit Gosnell, who killed babies born alive in his clinic and is responsible for the death of an adult woman. Americans were rightfully outraged when they were told of his crimes. But the truth is that innocent unborn children routinely suffer that same fate as Gosnell's victims did through normal late-term abortions, and the government does not bat an eye. The only difference between these casualties and the loss of life that resulted in Gosnell's murder conviction is the location. Madam Speaker, if we cannot appeal to my pro-abortion lawmakers' sense of compassion when it comes to this issue, then surely we can at least appeal to their senses of logic and fact. Knowing that premature babies are being saved as early as 22 weeks into fetal development, there is no legitimate reason to oppose this bill. In the year of 2015, the United States has no business aborting a life that can live outside the womb. Science agrees, and so do the majority of Americans. The Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act will right this wrong. Madam Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.